Welcome back to another so powerful session. It is Plant Therapy Thursdays, and today we are going to be talking about the heart-opening power of cacao. Before we jump into the lesson, we'll do a brief moment of grounding ourselves. We ground ourselves to transition our minds to the learning phase. All right, so as we're coming into this space, as we're transitioning from things from earlier today to this moment, let's begin to tune ourselves into our breath. Bring our mind to this moment. The magic and the presence of this moment. And let's all take a deep breath in together, breathing in nice and deep, and releasing it out. Taking another deep breath in, and releasing it out as we arrive here in this moment. On this next breath, we're going to really focus in on that heart space. So that's what we'll be talking about today as we explore the power of cacao, this relationship to our heart space. So let's take another deep breath in, breathing in deep to that heart space, really opening it up and releasing it out. Noticing the stillness at the bottom of that breath. Noticing what it feels like to be calm. So lower the activity of the mind just a bit. Let's take another deep breath in. And then releasing it out. Further grounding ourselves. And in this moment, let's allow ourselves to put anything aside and give ourselves permission that for the next minutes, next moments, allowing ourselves to be here and be present, giving ourselves permission to not be doing so many things, but to simply sit here and be open and receptive, receive what information is here for us, and integrate this information into our practice to support our mental and spiritual well-being. Let's take one last deep breath in as we come back into ourselves, come back into the room, coming back into our body, breathing in nice and deep. And as you release it out, in gratitude for another day, another moment, another opportunity to learn and receive in order to evolve and grow. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you. All right, so let's get into it. So we are talking about the heart-opening power of cacao. So what is cacao? Cacao refers to the seeds of the Theobroma cacao tree, which is native to Central and South America. And this cacao is a primary ingredient used to produce chocolate. Okay, so before they add in all the sugars and the milks and all these things, we have cacao. Cacao is rich in nutrients, antioxidants, and natural compounds that contribute to its health benefits and its historical use in ceremonies and medicinal practices. So who discovered cacao? The Mayans and the Aztecs discovered cacao around 1900 BC. And through some trial and error and maybe even some divine direction, they began to they realized that the cacao was a gift from the gods. And they began to utilize it ceremonially and as a currency as well. We all know about the spice trade. They use it as a currency as well. They would create this bitter drink out of it called chocolato. Did my best on that one. for spiritual rituals and medicinal purposes. So how do we go from cacao to chocolate? To transform the cacao into chocolate, the Mayans and the Aztecs fermented the cacao beans, roasted them, removed their shells, ground them into a paste. This paste was mixed with water, chili peppers, and other spices, and then whipped into a frothy, bitter beverage and this is regarded as a precursor to modern day chocolate. Okay, so much different than the chocolate we might be used to, but this is how it's prepared. And this is also how you see it prepared in current ceremonies. So let's talk a little bit more about ceremonial use of cacao. Ancient civilizations like the Mayans and the Aztecs revered cacao, using it in ceremonies and medicine. It symbolized divine connection and spiritual communion to foster healing and unity. They learned the properties of cacao through trial and error and observing its effects on mood as well as energy. Cacao was integral to these rituals, seen as a conduit for divine connection, aiding in spiritual awakening to facilitate introspection, emotional release, and heightened awareness. It was used to alleviate stress, boost energy, and enhance mood, and viewed as a remedy for physical and mental fatigue, promoting healing on the physical, emotional, and spiritual levels, contributing to communal harmony among these tribes, as well as individual well-being. Now, this might be shocking because we consume chocolate so much. But also what isn't shocking is that when we think about something that, when our coping skills that are pushed in mainstream media, right, is eating sweets, right, or eating chocolate. Chocolate is something to make somebody feel better, right? Those Hershey kisses. So there is some evidence that this chocolate does actually make us feel good and how we see it being presented in mainstream. But beyond making us feel good, it also is quite healing to us. So let's talk more about how cacao works in the body. So cacao affects brain chemistry by promoting relaxation and boosting serotonin. And we already know that serotonin is that feel-good hormone, right? When people are experiencing depression, it's because they have lower levels of serotonin. Cacao contains a compound called theobromine, which is a natural stimulant similar to caffeine, but milder. It enhances alertness without the same jittery effects as caffeine. Theobromine stimulates the central nervous system, dilates blood vessels, right? That means it makes them wider, and can have a relaxing effect, contributing to a sense of calmness and relaxation. So although it is going to, it's a stimulant, it also is going to, instead of making you jittery like caffeine, because it has these dilating effects, it makes you alert, but it keeps you in a calm state of alertness. Caffeine also contains something called flavonoids. Flavonoids, and in particular, flavonols, are potent antioxidants. And as a reminder, antioxidants are important in helping to reduce the effects of oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is simply when it's a part of the body, when the body is going through its natural cycles of cellular death and inflammation. It is the waste products. It is the waste products of that. And you want to be able to remove that. Okay. Otherwise, the instability of these waste products or these unstable, what are they called? Mind is blanking, but the instability of these waste products can then destabilize other healthy cells around it. So that's why antioxidants are important. So these flavonoids have been associated with various health benefits, including improved blood flow to the brain, increased production of nitric oxide, which helps to relax blood vessels, and like I said, protection against oxidative stress. Flavonoids also promote the release of serotonin, right, which is our supports our mood and well-being, as well as relaxation. Now, cacao also triggers the release of oxytocin and anandamide release, contributing to feelings of joy and connection. Oxytocin is that love hormone, that bonding hormone we often hear associated with the bond between a mother and her child, right? When a mother kisses her child's wound, it's actually causing the release of oxytocin, which helps to reduce pain and promote a feeling of trust, connection, and bonding. Oxytocin is associated with social bonding, empathy, and positive interactions, fostering a sense of closeness and well-being. All right, so the cacao also contains anandamide. Bear with me on these words. And this is known as the bliss molecule due to its association with feelings of joy and happiness. Cacao contains compounds that inhibit the breakdown of this molecule, leading to more levels of this neurotransmitter in the brain. So to correct, it's not that cacao contains this, it's that it prevents the breakdown of it, so that way we have more available for our brain to absorb. And this molecule interacts with receptors involved in mood regulation, and this contributes to those feelings of euphoria, relaxation, and a sense of bliss. So cacao is doing various beautiful things in the body. Now, when it comes to our mental and emotional wellness, cacao is able to reduce stress, anxiety, and enhance mood through its chemical composition. Cacao influences specific neurotransmitters to foster a more productive and positive mental state. So, for example, cacao contains compounds that promote the release of serotonin and endorphins. Now, these new neurotransmitters are linked to mood regulation, and increased levels of these neurotransmitters contribute to more positive mood, reducing stress and enhancing overall well-being, which can directly improve your focus and creativity. All right, because how many of us, because of our stress, because of us being in a negative mood state, we're not able to be creative. We're having those creative blocks, or we're not able to actually focus on our work because our mind is so occupied by negative thinking. Cacao also triggers the release of dopamine. And we know that dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. So through the consumption of cacao and that causes these elevated dopamine levels, we feel this enhancement of motivation, creativity, focus, promoting a more engaged and inspired state of mind. Okay. Once again, cacao contains theobromine, which is that mild stimulant, right? It gives you that stimulating effect without the jitteriness of caffeine. And this alertness that it creates improves cognitive functioning, which can enhance your focus and your concentration, aiding in you completing tasks that require mental clarity. Cacao also contains the flavonoids that have been linked to improved cognitive functioning. And in fact, flavonoids support neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is that ability for our brains to adapt and form new neural connections. Now, this is really important when we are on our healing journeys. As we're healing and letting go of old limiting beliefs, we want to be able to form new neural pathways of new expanded beliefs. So these types of compounds that support neuroplasticity are really good in really embedding these new insights that we're receiving and us shifting into that new person, that new version we want to be. Neuroplasticity is a very important part of that. Cacao is also supportive in helping us to release emotional blockages. Cacao ceremonies, which is when you're doing it either with a group of people or on your own, but just with an intention of doing something beyond just consuming chocolate, but consuming this cacao with an intention behind it. So when you are doing this in ceremony, it creates a supportive environment for emotional exploration and healing. Cacao ceremonies allow individuals to release emotional blockages, gain self-awareness, and experience profound emotional and spiritual healing. Consuming cacao in a ceremonial setting creates a safe space for emotional exploration. The theobromine and the flavonoids of cacao can relax the body and the mind, aiding in the release of emotional tension, allowing individuals to address and process buried emotions or blockages. Now, we've all heard of how emotions get stored in the body. We've heard about the chakras and those being our energy centers and how those can become unbalanced. But on the physical side, you can have emotions being stuck in your physical body. Maybe some tension, certain emotional wounds. So cacao can help relax the body and the mind enough in order to begin to release those things. The ceremonial practices also encourage mindfulness and presence. When in these ceremonies, participants often engage in meditation, reflection, and circle sharing, fostering self-awareness and deepening the emotional experience. Because you are setting this intention going into these ceremonies and you are engaging in the meditation, or you're engaging in the journaling, or in the sharing, all these actions are bringing you very much to the present moment. And it's easier for you to be in that present moment because of those compounds of the cacao that are relaxing the mind and turning off all that chatter and opening the heart, making you feel safe, activating the oxytocin so that way you feel connected. Now, cacao also has heart opening properties. This is what I love. Okay, cacao is often associated with the heart chakra. The heart chakra is our center of love, compassion, and emotional balance. Cacao's interaction with the heart chakra facilitates a sense of emotional connection and vulnerability. When open, the heart chakra promotes feelings of empathy, connection, and emotional release. Cacao's consumption in a mindful, intentional way is believed to foster a deeper connection with oneself and others, aligning with the energetic properties associated with the heart chakra and spiritual practices. This can help individuals confront suppressed emotions, promoting emotional healing and release, emotional release and healing. Okay. Now, the key here is that this cacao welcomes the love that it brings you into by working with this heart chakra, allows you to feel safer stepping into that place of vulnerability. And in that space, the ego is kind of on the back burner, right? So the ego is trying to protect you, trying to maintain the personality that you are. It doesn't want you to look into those shadows. It doesn't want you to look at those wounds. But when the heart chakra is activated, right, we begin to connect ourselves with the highest frequency, we feel more courageous, more supported in stepping into that space of vulnerability. And it is in that space of vulnerability, that is where you cross that threshold. That is where that release happens. That's where that new learning happens, is in that zone of vulnerability. Okay, and from a spiritual and energetic level, cacao nurtures spiritual exploration, promoting a deeper understanding of oneself and the interconnectedness of all things. Cacao contains compounds that foster spiritual clarity, and deeper meditative experiences. As I mentioned before, cacao is a heart opener. It creates a sense of emotional vulnerability and openness, allowing individuals to connect more deeply with their emotions and others. When we are able to connect more deeply with our emotions and others, this helps us to connect to the all. A part of our spiritual practice is realizing that we are infinite. We're not this limited thing that we've been taught to believe, but we are infinite and we are connected to everything. So that openness that we get from the cacao supports us in that spiritual awareness that we are a part of the all. We are connected to the all. The ceremonial consumption of cacao can elevate one's energy, aligning with spiritual practices aimed at expanding consciousness and fostering a deeper connection to oneself and the universe. Love is the highest vibration. Right? Cacao is working directly with the heart chakra, our center of love. So if we follow the medicine of cacao, we can support ourselves in connecting to the highest vibration in this universe, and that being love. And of course, if you are aligned with the highest vibration, the vibration of love, the vibration of source, then you expect that you will be a conduit, you will be a magnet of good things. And you will be in the vibrational frequency to receive those good things that are inspired within you. And you'll be able to stay in flow with that frequency of love and allow yourself to be guided to what you desire. The psychoactive compounds in cacao plus intention setting facilitate a state of heightened awareness and presence, right? We're not just casually going by life, just passively going through life. No, we are very intentional in this moment. So it facilitates a state of heightened awareness and presence to support spiritual exploration through introspection, meditation, and the exploration of deeper aspects of consciousness. Cacao ceremonies often bring individuals together in a shared experience. This communal setting fosters a sense of unity, shared intention, and collective energy, further enhancing the spiritual exploration and connection among participants. A part of the reason why I create this collective, the Soul Powerful Wellness Collective, is because there is power in collective intention. There is power in all of us focusing on well-being, on manifesting a brighter world, on love. It's much more powerful when we do that together than when we do it individually. So even within these cacao ceremonies, yes, you can do this on your own, but when you do this with other people, you can benefit from that collective connected consciousness and all of that mental energy focusing on the love, the wellness, the connection. So this is a great one. There's certain plants you might want to do on your own, but this is a great one to be able to do with others. Okay, so now getting into ceremony. So I've participated in one cacao ceremony, and this is pretty much the setup that we followed. Okay. So we started with setting intentions. Begin by setting clear intentions for the ceremony, focusing on what you aim to achieve and experience. Preparation. Choose a high-quality ceremonial grade cacao. And you prepare it by grinding it down, melting it down, and preparing it into a drinkable form. Okay, so we mixed ours with some purified spring water. And then when we served it, actually, do we mix the water? think we cooked it down. Yeah, we mixed it with a little bit of water. Yeah, we did. And when we served it, we also served it with some cayenne pepper. So if you recall from like one of the earlier slides, we talked about how the Aztecs and Mayans, when they would prepare this, they would add in different spices. So cayenne pepper is something that we all have available, and it works very well with cacao in supporting that heart opening, that activation. And so we mixed a little bit in while we made the batch, and then we also brought it out to individuals to add a little bit more of that cayenne pepper to theirs if they would have liked. You want to create a sacred space for the ceremony. Okay. You want to consider elements like candles, incense, calming music. We like to do it in a circle just to kind of keep the energy, a nice energy grid flowing. I brought in flowers. I did the sound bowls in the opening as well. You know, you might want to have, things that are comfortable for you to sit or lay on. Okay. Now, when it comes to the consuming part, you want to consume the cacao mindfully, acknowledging its significance and intention set. So everyone is going to drink the cacao together at the same time, and you want to be very present because this is a sacred medicine. This cacao is a teacher. These plants are teachers to assist us in our journeys. So while you're consuming the cacao, you want to continue to acknowledge and be grateful for this plant medicine, as well as like remembering and reflecting on what intentions you had. What do you want to receive, relieve, resolve, or release and taking of the medicine? And then after taking in the medicine, you go into silent reflection. So sit quietly, allowing the cacao's effects to unfold. Reflect on the intention set and focus inward. And it's going to take you on that heart-opening journey. And in this time, you can engage in activities like meditation, journaling, and then after, people have time for their own individual time. You can come together and actually share your thoughts and experiences with one another. You want to express gratitude for the experience. You want to give thanks to the cacao and its healing properties. Always acknowledging, being humble and being grateful for these plants that the Creator has placed here to serve us and assist us along the way. And then finally, you want to do a formal closing of your ceremony. Whether you are doing this alone or with a group, you want to formally close out the ceremony by coming back and grounding yourself, expressing thanks, and then slowly returning to your surroundings. So you want to do that formal closing of the ceremony. Okay. All right. And lastly, now, even though these are plants, even though these are things you can find in nature, we do want to use them responsibly. So before engaging in a cacao ceremony, whether alone or with a group, please take these things into consideration. Mentally, ensure a positive and open mindset. Be prepared for introspection and emotional exploration. So if you are in a very distressed state, if something bad just happened or you just find yourself in a negative cycle, this might not be the best time, especially if you're doing this in a communal space. You want to get yourself into a space where you are ready to do this work, where you are ready to sit in silence, right? Maybe right now, because of what you're going through, you need to be listening to music. You need to be doing other things to kind of assist you in coming through that emotional state that you're in. So be mindful what mindset you're in. You want to clarify your intentions for the ceremony, focusing on what you want to seek to gain or experience. You don't want to just go into it passively. You want to respect the medicine and set your intention of what you want to receive from it. And then you also want to be aware of your emotional state. Assess and acknowledge your current emotional state, allowing space for any emotions that may arise during the ceremony, and being willing to. You don't want to suppress anything that comes up. You want to allow it to flow, because that is that emotional release that cacao provides for us. So you have to be willing to be comfortable with that emotional release. Okay. And when it comes to physical health, you want to consider any health conditions or medications that may interact with cacao, because we talk about this being a stimulant. So any gastrointestinal issues like irritable bowel syndrome, any anxiety disorders or heart conditions, migraines, it could have negative interactions with stimulants, with the stimulant aspect of cacao. Now, again, this is different from the stimulant of caffeine, but it still could. So you just want to kind of be mindful if you do have any of these conditions. Also, you want to stay hydrated and avoid consuming a heavy meal before the ceremony to enhance cacao's effect. When I did it, we did fast. We had ate earlier in the day, and then before we had our lunch, we did the cacao ceremony because we wanted to do it on an empty stomach. So that way you can really feel the effects of that plant taking hold versus all the other things that could have been in your body. Okay. And it's always nice to be light when you're going into any spiritual ceremony, because you don't want your body to be so focused and dedicating so much energy towards digesting food. And you don't want to be bloated. You don't want to be, all these things that could distract from the experience. Okay. And lastly, when it comes to your spiritual health, be spiritually prepared. Mentally prepared for a spiritual experience, ensuring openness and introspection and heightened awareness. Okay? And connection. Cultivate a sense of connection with yourself and your surroundings, fostering an environment conducive to spiritual exploration. So you want to be mindful of how you set your environment up. You want to be ready to connect with others. You don't want to be closed off. You're not really going to have the experience that you want to have. All right, so if you do want to do any exploration on your own, just make sure you are get you some good ceremonial, high-grade ceremonial cacao, or even go on Eventbrite and look up, are there any cacao ceremonies? Check out the people who are doing them. Do you fit their vibe? And if it's something that you want to do on your own, then I linked, if you scan that QR code, it links to a playlist of some music that I have on YouTube, just to kind of get you in that heart opening kind of vibe. And you can always listen to it, when you're out of ceremony as well, but it's just some music to support because you want to, really cultivate a good environment for your experience. Thank you so much for joining us for this session of the Soul Powerful Wellness Collective. I hope that this information brought you value and is helping to further expand your mind and elevate you mentally and spiritually. If you would like to join us for our next class, visit drmkita.com/SOL to join the Wellness Collective, and we look forward to seeing you there. Sending you peace, love, and light upon your journey. Stay soul powerful.